Alright, good morning everybody. So here we are with QCOM. I am jumping in just a tad bit late, picked up 100 shares short. And yeah, so our algorithm has switched, and the modified play is every switch until I'm green is what I play on QCOM. So here we are. So first trade of the new log, and hopefully it will be a winner. So there's our grid. The entry we're supposed to get was 166.07. We're close, but not there. So the entry I ended up with was 166.01. Yellow are my entry. Red stop, green targets. So I go to 200 shares and put in my trade here. This way I'm speed bumping it. It'll automatically reverse for me. And we go just above high of day, 167.0809. All right, so now I have 200. I have 100 shares that I own, but 200 on the order, so that if it doesn't sell off here and does come back up, which it may, I mean this just looks pretty bullish still, then it'll speed bump it, and then we'll end up in the long side with 100 shares. Okay, so there we go through the target. So I'm going to give this a second to run. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I'll do it here. Cancel 2 orders. Change my share size to 100. 165.17 to target. So spread is 22 to 29. So 7 cents or so. So I'm going to give it a chance to poke its head back down under there. We got 4 minutes for this candle to close. So we'll see how it does. Maybe I'll have to just get out for less than target, but we'll see. I mean, it would have been nice to get the target and get out right there. But I didn't have my stop in for it, and I'm looking at all my other charts, including the ES, and it looks like there's a pretty big sell-off happening, so we'll see if this follows suit. Okay, here we go. 165.17. So I'm looking at the ask and the bid at the bottom, making sure that I can get in there. So right now the ask is at 18, so we're not. Okay, there we go. All right, so now if it backs up and I get out, then it backs up and I get out. All good. But now I got a chance for it to keep on running. So 100 was the goal. I got in a little bit late, so we're not quite there. Okay, now we are at 98. So I want to move this to 98. I want to move it to 98 if possible here. All right, 64.98. Come on. Go back down. All right, 95. All right, so if it backs up and it gets me out, I'll be really close to my goal, which was 100. Okay, cool. What just happened here? Why do I have 200 shares? Flatten. I don't know what just happened. Oh, what? I'm gonna have to re-look at that. Oh, I guess because I added to my position instead of putting. So I was short, was selling it. So I sold. So I basically added another 100 shares, whereas I needed to buy to get out of a short. So what happens a lot of times for traders when you're going back and forth, short, long, sometimes you make those mistakes. So there you go. So I made a little mistake. Good thing I didn't lose, turn into a red trade. So I still ended up with $53 on that trade. I could probably jump in here and make that money back, but this trade is dead as far as the algorithm goes. That's too bad. All right, so we're gonna go over to the log and put our entry in. So here we go. All right, so here with the trade log, gonna go to, so we got nothing in so far, day trade. And then I'm gonna go down to the today's the 25th. Right here, CVS. Actually, we're in QCOM. I didn't sleep much last night, so this is what happens. Probably shouldn't trade today. All right, QCOM. We're short. So because I added those positions, those extra shares to my position, we ended up at 165.49 as our average entry. Big mistake. And our average exit was 165.22. 200 shares. Wasn't supposed to have 200 shares. So that's unfortunate. All right, so we'll come over here. Okay, put a little note in there. And then when this is, yeah, see that thing? Just, you're not seeing it because you're over here. Let me show you. Yep, like I said, I could jump back in and probably recover all that because the whole market looks like it's selling off right now. But I didn't, so I didn't. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, you know, how much more this went before it turns around and heads back north. And that's what I'm going to put in for the max move of this trade. How much it could have moved had I just stayed in it. All right, so we'll bring you to the next trade when it pops up. Okay, so I'm not sure if my other trade just recorded. I just saw this was paused, so I hit record. So hopefully it was, but just in case, we'll say it again. So here we are with QCOM. We're already exited, as you can see. And what a slide. Man, that would have been awesome to be on that ride. But you're always going to give some back or leave money. You know, you're always going to leave money on the table or give it back. So better to leave it on the table, I guess. But, you know, you never know if this is going to come down, make a higher low into a higher high. Is it bounce? You know, does it bounce at the low of day? You know, you just don't know what's going to happen. So trade off the algorithm. I'm happy to get my 1-to-1s plus some bonus money here and there. And is what it is. Unfortunately, this should have been around the $100 range, but we added to our position. We should have only had 100 shares. But when we're exiting, we actually added, and then it pulled back up, and I bounced out on that pull back up. So, you know, didn't have a lot of sleep, and this is why it's good to trade when you're focused, and when you're not focused, not so good to trade. And then CVS, let's take a peek. CVS, where are you? Okay, CVS. So CVS, we jumped in a little bit. We had a little bit of a discount on CVS. We got in on a little bit of a pullback here on this. Can't really tell, but this candle pulled back a little bit. So 72.80 was the target entry. We ended up getting in at 72.96, so that worked out nice. And then we ended up exiting at 72.44, so a couple pennies above our target. So which worked out pretty good. There was some shenanigans going on between these two, which just seemed to be matching up with the bid and the ask at the bottom too. Like I don't know, these just didn't feel in sync to me. So I ended up flattening my position and getting out rather than trying to squeeze a little bit more out. Wouldn't have squeezed much out if anything because it backed up pretty big. I would have probably just got out. But I did put the wrong share size in. I should have had probably around 300 shares instead of 120. That was my calculation in my head that I did wrong. So we ended up with less than the $100 target that we were looking for based on the risk reward on the on our strategy. Okay, so back over to the log. So we entered our QCOM and CVS into the log here. So we have our first entries. So far, we're up today $116, which is nice. I put a note in there for the first one. And then bad math in my head. Should have been a 100 risk reward, and I traded on the switchback. So simple switch back. So I know what strategy I was using when I did that. So there we go. So now if I come over to my scaling ladder, you can see I already have a green bar in here. So that's 100 down. So I just got to get all these filled up before I can move to 150, and it automatically does that green for me. So I don't have to worry about that. And then over here we have our percentage scaling ladder. So we're not quite there yet on that. So yep. And this is I'm using for the swing trades. If you saw my building 2021's trading plan, I go into all the details on all that stuff. So back to dashboard. And then we can look over on the 25th, and we can see so far we're at $116 for the day and for the month. And then the same thing with the log starting to show me some information here. So, all right, if we get any more trades, I'll bring it to you. Hopefully we'll get at least one more before the date's over. I already missed a futures trade, but that's how it goes. Okay, so here we are with TWOU on the switchback. So I missed this trade. I wasn't able to process it. fast enough and get into it. So who knows? Maybe I missed out on a loser. Hopefully that's the case. But either way, I think when you don't have any sleep and you got brain fog, it's time to shut it down and not trade. So we're already green on the day. Yes, I should have been in this trade as well, but I missed it. I missed my first CVS trade, all that good stuff. So fumbling a bunch of stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for the day, and we'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, so that's how we're going to finish the day, up 116 bucks. Let's take a quick look at that, and then we will close it out. So I got my calculator, dashboard. All right, there we are, 116 bucks for the day, those two trades. And yeah, we'll see everybody tomorrow.